True and False Magic is the latest book from therapist Phil Stutz. You may know him from the Netflix documentary Stutz done by Jonah Hill, or perhaps his other book called The Tools, co-written by Barry Michaels. This one I know because Phil co-wrote it with Elise, who I have worked with in the past on her podcast, Pulling the Thread, and she's talked about the process of writing this book. And in fact, she did an interview with Phil about the book, and it got me really, really interested. And so I'm so excited that it did come out. Now, what is it about ultimately, right? Well, it talks about what is true and false magic, as the title might imply. And by that, it's the parts we perceive to be helping our lives, but really aren't. That's the false magic. And instead, to tap into the true magic of life in order to build to what we want in life. Think of it, for lack of a better term, like a manifestation book. But unlike other forms of manifestation that I've seen people write about and talk about and so forth, this one, I think, is going to rub certain people the wrong way, because it's going to push them into uncomfortability. In fact, that's part of the design. So as Phil and Elise talk about it, there's pain, uncertainty, and constant work. Those are three elements that in order for you to tap into true magic, you have to kind of lean into. And that's very difficult for people, and they tackle it head on, where we try to be both lazy and avoid pain. But many of the greatest things in life have a fusion of that. I've talked about it in other episodes before, but they talk about it here as well. The idea of childbirth. It can be both a very painful experience, and yet a life is literally born out of that. One of the most magical things for human beings, right? And so it takes that concept and it applies it throughout all of life, and the idea that, we try to have so much certainty, but when we start to shatter the illusion of our framework of what we believe the world to be, we can start to tap into the true magic that exists in the world, because we start to see it for what it really is and how to work with it. And it provides all these various examples, prompts, and things of that nature to get you to be able to do that. And it's actually a very short book. It's not long at all. It's like 120 pages, give or take. But it's short because it's meant to be digestible, and furthermore, it's meant to be a book that you don't just read in one weekend, but you really apply to life. The tools aren't just learned. They need to be put to action. And when you can do that over and over, you start to see the benefits of it, right? And what I love is just the honesty. I mean, Phil, I think this is more coming from Phil, knowing his personality, but he's no holds bar. He literally writes in bullshit and crap. And so there's curse words throughout the whole book that really give it this color, but I appreciate the way they're utilized, because it is a no-nonsense type of book, and he wants to get at the absolute truth. One of the things for him as a therapist, he found what he calls traditional therapy to not be as effective, and he wanted to, heal people as quickly, and to do that, you need to go deep and so forth, and that's what this really distills is his, I believe, 40 years of knowledge at this point. So the only reason why he's kind of really slowed down is because of his Parkinson's disease, which is rather unfortunate, but he still obviously is a tremendous human being and doing incredible work out there in the world. And so I appreciate it. And for all those reasons, if anything that I've talked about is appealing, I highly recommend True and False Magic to you. I've been recommending it to various people in my life. Oddly enough, it's actually a very religious book, which I tend to not be very religious. I've tend to substitute like the word God for universe or just life itself. He heavily uses the word God outright and whatnot. And so it's actually something that I want to gift to a lot of my Christian friends, but just anybody, you know, like I think this was a true gift to me. And whenever you get something like that, you want to share it with the world. And so I'm trying to do that with the people that I know. Anyway, check it out. When you do, please, you know, I would love to have an in-depth discussion about this. So just comment down below and let me know what your thoughts are. And yeah, let's bring out the true magic in all of us.